An explosive revelation shatters years of silence as a family's hidden treachery comes to light in a real tale of deceit, manipulation, and the quest for identity. Betrayed by a sibling who skillfully convinced our parents to strip away my rightful share, I soon uncovered that behind meticulously drafted legal loopholes lay a covert scheme to not only deny me an inheritance, but also to erase my very existence within the family. Through a grueling journey of painful introspection, relentless determination, and unexpected self-discovery, I transformed betrayal into a testament of resilience, turning deep scars into symbols of strength and a fierce pursuit of justice. This saga is a powerful reminder that even in the darkest betrayals, one can reclaim lost honor and emerge stronger than ever. My sibling managed to sway our parents into removing me from their inheritance, insisting that I had no right to anything. By choosing not to challenge them at the time, I let them believe they had prevailed, accepting the decision with a heavy resignation that I never fully understood until years later. I still remember the day I learned of my supposed exile from our family's legacy. A crisp autumn afternoon, when the leaves had just started to turn, mirroring the bitter change in my life. I had been sitting quietly in the corner of our living room, lost in my own thoughts, when my sibling's voice, low and certain, cut through the usual hum of our family conversation. Their words were like a verdict passed without trial, a sentence that sealed my fate long before I even knew what it meant to be excluded. I listened, stunned and silent, as they recited the decision of our parents, a decision that I chose not to contest. In that moment, I convinced myself that the safest path was to retreat inward, to let the wounds fester quietly in the dark corners of my mind, rather than spark an all-out family war. The years that followed were a series of muted acknowledgments and simmering resentments. I became a ghost in my own life, watching from the sidelines as family gatherings turned into elaborate performances where smiles concealed deeper regrets and unspoken accusations. I began to see how my siblings' calculated charm had long overshadowed my quieter presence, how they'd been meticulously planting seeds of doubt about my capabilities and my worth. At every reunion, every casual conversation, there was a hint, a barely perceptible emphasis on my failings or a pointed reminder of my perceived shortcomings. It was as though I had been cast into a role of the perennial underdog, doomed to stand in the shadows of a family drama that I never auditioned for. I spent those years questioning my own decisions. What if I had fought back? What if I had demanded a clear explanation or insisted on a revision of the will in the heat of the moment? But fear and uncertainty kept me silent. I feared the inevitable discord that would shatter the already fragile bonds between us, and so I swallowed my pride and buried my objections. I convinced myself that perhaps I was being too sentimental, that clinging to old grievances would only disrupt the semblance of peace our family had managed to maintain. Yet, beneath that veneer of acceptance, a storm of emotions raged. There were nights when I would lie awake staring at the ceiling, replaying every word, every gesture, trying to pinpoint the exact moment when I had lost my place in the family's good graces. Then, 3 years later, everything changed with a phone call that shattered the quiet monotony of my self-imposed exile. The lawyer's voice on the other end of the line was measured and calm, yet there was an unmistakable urgency that set my heart pounding. He told me that what I had believed to be a final, irrevocable decision was, in fact, a clever facade. Our parents, under the subtle influence of my siblings' persuasive arguments, had never truly renounced my claim to the inheritance. Instead, there existed a series of clauses buried deep within the legal documents, clauses that clearly outlined my rights, rights that had been deliberately misrepresented by those closest to me. The revelation was both shocking and oddly liberating. Every long night of self-doubt, every suppressed grievance suddenly found a form of validation. It wasn't that I had been wronged out of mere pettiness. I had been deceived by a network of familial manipulation, a scheme that reached further than I had ever imagined. As the lawyer explained the intricate legal loopholes and the hidden language that had been twisted to serve a purpose far removed. From fairness, I felt a surge of emotions that I had long thought buried. Anger, yes, but also a profound sense of relief. The documents revealed that the removal of my name was not only legally questionable, but morally indefensible. I learned that while I had silently accepted the betrayal, my sibling had been orchestrating a slow, deliberate campaign to rewrite our family history in their favor. Every casual remark, every dismissive gesture had been part of a larger plan, a plan that was now crumbling before my eyes. I began to retrace the timeline of events in my mind, piecing together the subtle hints I had dismissed as mere eccentricities of a dysfunctional family. I recalled the evenings when my sibling would casually mention how ungrateful I was, or the times when our parents' eyes would flash with a hidden satisfaction as they reiterated that I had no claim. It was as if a curtain had been drawn back, revealing a stage set with intricate deception. The revelation forced me to confront the uncomfortable truth that I had been complicit in my own undoing by not speaking up sooner. The silence I had maintained had been interpreted as acquiescence, a silent nod to the narrative my sibling had so carefully crafted. The lawyer's call ignited within me a determination that I had long thought extinguished. I began to research every detail of the case, poring over old letters, emails, and even recording snippets of conversations that I had previously dismissed as inconsequential. With each new piece of evidence, the puzzle of my family's betrayal became clearer, and I started to realize that this was more than a legal dispute. It was a battle for my identity. My sibling had not only sought to strip me of financial security, but had also tried to erase my role in the family, to redefine who I was in the eyes of everyone around me. The inheritance, in its truest sense, was not merely about money or property. It was a symbol of the love, trust, and shared history that I believed was mine by birthright. Armed with this newfound resolve, I decided that it was time to reclaim what had been unjustly taken from me. I reached out to the lawyer and scheduled a meeting to go over every legal document in excruciating detail. The process was painstaking, filled with dense legal jargon and clauses that seemed designed to confound even the most astute reader. But with each page I turned, I felt the weight of injustice lifting, replaced by a steady flame of purpose. I began to contact distant relatives and old family friends who, in whispered tones and cautious glances, admitted that there had always been something amiss in the way decisions were made. Their stories, fragmented yet sincere, painted a picture of a family steeped in secrets and power plays, where loyalty was measured in the currency of control rather than affection. The more I learned, the more I realized that this was a crossroads, moment when I could either succumb to bitterness or rise above it to forge a new path. I decided that I would not allow resentment to define my future. Instead, I chose to confront my sibling directly, to demand not only what was rightfully mine, but also an honest conversation about the underlying causes of this betrayal. The confrontation was as emotional as it was explosive. In a dimly lit room filled with memories of happier times, I laid out the evidence, every damning detail of the manipulation and deceit. My sibling's face, once so confident and composed, gave way to fleeting expressions of guilt and anger. The conversation spiraled into accusations and long-suppressed grievances, with our parents eventually joining in, their voices trembling with regret and a tinge of fear. That night, as I sat, alone with the remnants of shattered familial bonds, I felt a mix of sorrow and liberation. The legacy I had once coveted for its tangible promise of security had transformed into a symbol of everything that was both broken and hopeful in my family. I realized that the true inheritance was not the money or the property, but the lessons learned from betrayal, the painful education in trust, the resilience forged in silence, and the ultimate understanding that sometimes reclaiming your identity means embracing the scars that life has etched upon you. In the months that followed, the legal battle became a catalyst for change. While the courts painstakingly sorted through the tangled web of deceit, I embarked on a journey of self-discovery. I traveled, met new people, and immersed myself in experiences that slowly rebuilt the parts of me that had been eroded by years of silent suffering. I found solace in writing, channeling my turbulent emotions into long journal entries that eventually morphed into a memoir, a raw, unfiltered account of how I had been betrayed by the ones I loved most, and how I had managed to reclaim not only my rightful share but also my sense of self-worth. Looking back now, I see that my siblings' manipulation was not just an act of familial treachery, it was a mirror reflecting the complex interplay of ambition, jealousy, and misguided love that can define even the closest of relationships. I have come to understand that in families, as in life, the lines between right and wrong are often blurred, and the wounds inflicted by those we hold dear can be the very impetus for growth. The journey from silence to confrontation, from despair to empowerment, was neither swift nor easy. It required confronting painful truths, accepting the imperfection of those we once idolized, and ultimately forging a path that was uniquely my own. Today, as I watch the autumn leaves fall, each one a symbol of change and renewal, I am reminded that every ending harbors the seed of a new beginning. The inheritance I fought for was not just a reversal of a legal injustice, but a reclamation of my narrative, a testament to the resilience of the human spirit in the face of betrayal. I have learned that while the scars of the past may never fully fade, they can serve as a reminder of our strength, urging us to rise each time we fall and to find beauty even in the midst of chaos.